Hello, today we're discussing if childcare should not be free. Ethics Squad project, should childcare be free? I think not. My first reason is there are better options instead of free childcare. Instead of providing free childcare, there should be cash transfers to parents and let those parents stay at home to care for their kids. We should prioritize actions that maximize happiness. There would be a lot more suffering for parents, for mothers, to miss a vital part of their kids' childhood. The development is also the strongest for kids when paired with consistent responsive care from a primary attachment figure. So basically what it just means is that in a big child care center, the child care workers would not be necessarily completely focused on each child, but allowing parents to be at home with their kids allows for that like one-on-one contact with the child and the giver. And this works in other countries too. Sweden and Norway don't provide free childcare, but instead do cash transfers and do extended paid leave, so parents get to spend time developing their kids' brain, and it works. I talked to my mother about this because my grandma, who lived in Norway, she had a job and she took time off, and my grandma talked about how helpful that was, because and it was just so valuable to her that time that she spent with her parents. Going back to the part with it would maximize happiness. And research shows that parents spend most of their time with their kids before graduation, which means that the most of the times parents will be spending with their kids is gonna be around this time period. So if parents want to be very close with their kids and want to be on that deeper level, that would help. Alright, my second reason is there's free childcare public school, which starts at the age of 4 or 5 pre-K. So it starts from 4 to 5 and goes on to high school. So by the time you're a legal adult. So, but an objection to that would be before 4 or 5 is when the brain develops. So before school, then is when it is needed. An objection to this is childcare should be free. Single mothers in poverty can't afford to take a couple years off. They need the money from a full-time or part-time job to support their kid. If no one spent my fourth reason is if no one spent time with their kids, then no one's parents would be connected with their kids. This goes with Kant's universal rule. If one person does it, what would happen if everyone does it to decide if it's right or wrong? In this situation, it would be right. But an objection to that is kids don't remember a lot from the time being 4 or 5 years old. Bear, put the camera on Bear. Bear, do you remember a lot from when you were 4 or 5 year old?
No.
Proving my point. And if you ask a wise person, they would say spend time with your kids so you don't regret not spending valuable time with them in the future. But at the same time, I don't know a wise person, so I don't know what a wise person would say, but that's what I believe it would say as a wise person myself. And my last and final reason is, that is my last and final reason. And this is my annotated bibliography. I use these are the 2 main things I used. And these sites I used to gather information and ideas. I used Erica Kuzmar's A Cure for Mondani's Childcare Plan. It's on Wall Street Journal. And then I used governing.com and article by Abby McClonsky about why universal childcare isn't always good for kids. And this essay was very useful because it really dig deep into like statistics and stuff, and it talks about a lot how it also goes back to a point where child care centers don't really spend like don't not all child care centers are the same. So some child care centers in overpopulated areas might be different than a child care center in a lower populated area, or a high rich community, or a community in poverty. And any questions, Bear or Keshav?
I guess I was curious about why you decided to go with childcare. I mean, there's so many different things to argue about, but why childcare? Do you have like a personal reason to that?
Not really. I just feel I kind of in the beginning I felt strongly about it should be free, but going through the argument, it didn't necessarily change but sharpen, because everybody's lives are different, everybody's perspectives are different. Some people have different scenarios. For example, a single mother, like I said, in poverty can't afford to take a couple years off. They need that money from a full-time or part-time job to support their kid. But let's say someone in a rich neighborhood, it might be helpful for them to just take some time away from work to help on their kid. So again, I feel like after this argument, I kind of it sharpened my perspective, and I believe that like now that parents should, if they need to, they should be able to apply for free child care in the child care center if they really do need it, kind of how welfare works. But if they don't, if parents want to spend time with their kids, they should be able to request from the government or their work to get some time off. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I really appreciate it. Bye.